from with the Backwoodsman Institute. This video right here is part of our Budget Hunter series. I'm going to be showing you how to make a homemade snow camo poncho out of stuff you probably got laying around your house, and if you don't have it around, it'll cost less than $5 to put it together. So that being said, let's get started. What I got right here is a regular white cotton bed sheet. We're going to be making one of them snow ponchos. Now this is for a twin size bed. This works pretty well perfect for me. Maybe a little long on the leg side. We can always trim that off. The sheet laid on the ground right here, it's in a rectangle, right? The long way is going like this on the ground. Now I'm just gonna find the middle. You can guess out the middle, or you can actually fold it over and fold it over to get to the exact middle. But I'm gonna cut a slit. That's gonna be where our head slides through. Don't want to make it too wide. Well, you want to be able to show you can slide it over your head. All right, we got our bed sheet poncho slid on right now. If you're worried about it fraying out right here, you can either sew it, kind of make a hem, or take some shoe glue or some super glue and get the edge right there. Now I've used this before I found that German surplus snow poncho. I used something like this for years, all right, and I never had it really fray out that bad. This is a twin size bed sheet. Fits me just about perfectly. It goes to my wrist line on both arms. Goes about my shin level. My head hole is a little off-centered, so my back's a little high. It doesn't matter if I want that to be the front. All I gotta do is spin my poncho around. But let's say you had an extra queen size bed sheet or something, you can cut it down. Just measure from your wrist to your wrist, or if you want it higher, maybe your elbow to your elbow, and maybe your knees to your knees, or whatever. And then you can cut your rectangle out of that, and then cut your head hole, and you got your snow poncho. The next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put a belt around our midsection here to keep this from making it look like I'm a flying squirrel going through the woods. Alright, I'm just going to use a piece of 550 cord. If you got an extra belt laying around, you can use this. Doesn't matter. Alright, we're just going to put it around our midsection. Any type of rope or anything would work here. You don't want to tie it too tight, but just to keep everything compressed around your belt line. Alright, then pull your arms up. Where you got some range of motion here, you can mount your rifle or whatever. Alright, so now we can go through the woods. Problem with this is it's just one solid piece of snow, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to make that pattern as on that German surplus snow poncho. Alright, now I'm going to go over some options you have to add some texture or some design to your snow poncho. Alright, you can either use spray paint, let it dry on there, wash it. A lot of that's still going to stay on there. Regular paint. If you don't want to spend any money on it, find you some walnut holes or some walnuts that fell on the ground that are starting to turn black. Dad made a video, it's one of our first videos about walnut hole dye. Alright, if you follow that process, I'll put a link into, if I can, I'll put a link into the description on this video. You can use this to add some designs onto this fabric right here. What I'm going to be using right now is RIT clothing dye. Alright, you can follow the directions that come with it. What I got to do here is I got to heat up some water, bring some water out here, and add some dye to it, and I can start painting a design on here or whatever I want. What I want to kind of emulate is some tree branches or some pockets where just the shadow of something is hitting, kind of like that's on that German poncho, that surplus poncho. So with that, I'm going to talk about some of the color options you have for putting your pattern onto your bed sheet here. Now you can either go with a black, a brown, or a dark brown in between there. And I went with dark brown, and I'm going to explain why. Alright, the color I'm going to be using is dark brown because if you scan the wood line, you'll see some branches, you'll see some tree trunks. Most of it's brown, alright? And the early melting spots that are on the hillsides and stuff, they appear to be dark, maybe even black with the first scan of your eyes. But once you start digging in there, you get more brown. So even though this is dark brown, if something is just scanning the hillside, the game species you're going after, it's going to be contrasting with the stuff that's already, maybe it's shade or maybe it's a shadow or maybe it's an early melting spot of leaf or something like that. So that's why I'm using dark brown. Alright, this is where your creativity comes out. Really don't matter. Just get some texture on there, some depth in it. I think I'm going to go a little darker, so I'm going to add some more dye to it. This dye right here, it only costs about $2.50 for a bottle at Walmart. And one should be plenty. You can do probably a bunch of these snow ponchos if you wanted to. Alright, that's starting to get a better color. Next thing I'm going to show you is how to do a snow camo wrap onto your firearm. Let's say you have an all black or all synthetic firearm that you want to camouflage. All you got to do is cut a 2-inch swath about 4 foot long. You may not need that much, but it doesn't matter. Off of your bed sheet. Right, and you end up with something like this. Take your firearm, make sure it's unloaded, safety's on. Alright, then take one of the ends and you want to start at the barrel and wrap down towards your scope or your action here. Now this is a lever action 22 that I use for squirrel hunting and stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to stop before this action. Let's say I had a pump shotgun. You may just have to do the barrel. If you had a scope or something, just do the scope. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at this barrel and I'm just going to tie off. You can either use rubber bands or hair ties if you're a woman, or if you got a man with long hair, it doesn't matter. If you got access to hair ties, you can use it on here as well. I'm just going to tie off and I'm going to show you just wrapping it. Alright, all I did was a simple overhand knot there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this tail, fold it down, and then I'm just going to continue to wrap. You can leave some of your barrel exposed, give you some of that depth. Now I'm just going to tie it off right here on my scope. Nothing pretty, but it's going to be effective in camouflaging, breaking up the outline of that solid gun. Maybe it got a synthetic stock, all black barrel or something like that. Right, there you have it. We got our homemade snow camo poncho right here. We got our barrel wrap on our firearm. All in all, this homemade setup costs about $3.50. The local Goodwill around here, you can pick these sheets up for about $1 or $1.50, somewhere around there. And if you sift through the pile long enough, you might be able to find one that's already pre-camoed for you. But that's a joke. The RIT dye, we got it from the local Walmart for about $2.50. You can use spray paint, anything. Just let it sit. If you don't plan on going hunting right after you make this, if you use paint or anything like that, let it have time to air out. Same thing if you use shoe goo for your threads, the seams right here. But all in all, there it is, an easy and cheap way to blend in with the snow and get out in the woods. Hope you guys liked the video. Catch you in a bit.